Hello.
Evening. We
Evening.
can you hear us?
Hopefully this is it. Hopefully it's all right. Yeah, it looks okay
Um,
so far. Chris, you've done better.
You've done
So
better.
so far, I like it. We've beaten the personal best by about 20 minutes?
Yeah, I'm not frozen, so it's all good.
Yeah, let's hope it doesn't take 20 minutes on game week 1, and they're having to rush through all the lineups and everything before kickoff.
Yeah, how are we doing, guys? We well on this Sunday evening with 4 weeks left to fancy ChampMan kicking off.
Excited.
Under 4 weeks,
Really
isn't it? Now?
excited.
Under 4 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, less than 4 weeks now. It's come around. It's been weird, right? Because we've been obviously planning this and had this in the works since, well, August, September time. You think January is like really,
Yeah.
so, yeah, it's pretty good.
Forget about it.
And it was, yeah, what, 4 or 5 months? All of a sudden, yeah, Christmas is here and we're into it. We're nearly there. We got first preview coming up. So yeah, it's been exciting to see the website live. Rob, Whitebeard, the team have done crazy things, Sean, to get the website up in the state it is. Obviously, it's looking great. It's on Gaffer. So for those of you who are new and haven't played ChampMan before, get on over to gaffer.io, register for an account, and then we're one of the 3 games that you can play on site, which you can choose just from the drop down at the top. If you've already had a Gaffer account before, you can just log in with it, log in with your old account, and you can see the game. I digress. Rob, how are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm good. On that note, I know that lots of people are asking about whether their season histories will be brought across from the old ChampMan site. It's being worked on, and there might be a process that people will be able to follow to bring that info over, but we're not too sure how long that could take. It could take a while. It's not obviously the number one priority has always been getting the game up and running for you guys to be able to have a tinker and pick your teams. Your rankings from the past wasn't the sort of main priority for us, but it's being worked on, and hopefully we'll come up with a solution to make that happen for everyone.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not too bothered. I mean, I had season 1 dead team, so we can. If that doesn't happen, it doesn't matter. We can start from fresh this season.
Yeah,
it's all good.
Nice one. Thanks. Great to see. How many have we got? We got a few in the chat already. Gary Smith, welcome back. We've missed you.
He knows exactly what time every stream is. He's just played along, doesn't he? So.
Anyone bought Tonton Mikoku in yet?
Not yet, but I've had a look because I need some enablers in midfield to accommodate some heavy hitters. So that's my main thing at the moment, is identifying those 4.5 mids that are going to play, and it's there's a lot of players.
There's one or two 4.5 mids in there that could become little gems potentially. So
yeah, I want to have a look at
we're not at liberty to tell anyone who they are. We're going to let someone discover them for themselves.
What's this? Mystery pudding. Thank you.
Oh, hello.
Mystery lady. What have we got?
You got mystery pudding. What?
Mystery pudding.
Where's my pudding?
What's this?
Sticky toffee pudding.
Oh,
sorry, carry on. You crack on.
Such a Sunday night thing. Brilliant. There's a few players tonight. I mean, we're going through Arsenal to Leeds team, have a look at teams and prices and how we feel about different players. But there's a few 4.5 mids in these teams tonight that I think I'll get your ideas on as well, because when you're looking to put some attacking mids into your team as well as heavy hitter forwards, those enablers just become crucial, and you need them to be picking up at least playing points. So when you want like Pedersen and Janssen and a couple of big forwards, it's like you can't afford the medium price mids, can you? So those enablers are key. But I think for a lot of people as well, people want Pedersen and Janssen and the heavy hitters up front. So it'll be interesting to see how people go with that.
Yeah, definitely. And Rob, I mean, how would you describe the way that sort of we've approached pricing this year?
I think in some parts we've been very generous, but then we were very determined to try and not make it a 10-man game, which the first 2 seasons generally have been, with a lot of people going with that Man United striker.
You can name him.
And I think it's worked, like seeing being able to see like the ownership of Van Nistelooy, and he's just under 40%, which is like perfect, really. We don't want any players to be owned by 70 to 80% of the game. We already have a game that does that, which we all play. So yeah, we don't need another one. So it's been quite refreshing seeing the talk in some of the group chats in Luke's Discord about whether do we need Ruud van Nistelooy in our teams? Does getting him in mean we're losing out on other players, especially at that price at 14.5? So yeah, I've seen a lot of people go for Veron instead.
Yeah. Are you happy we persuaded you to go up 0.5?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
I think I was at 14 million. That was what I looked at, but yeah, I think that 14.5. I think the general consensus around the community when it got announced, when was it, a week ago now, wasn't it, or a few days ago? The general consensus was it was really good price for him. So yeah, hopefully.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
people
struggling.
that decision.
I mean, I've made a few drafts and I haven't made one with him in yet because it's too much money, and I think you can go without him. I know he's going to be a heavy hit. I know he's going to be a heavy captain, but it just allows you that extra, like perhaps mid premium.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at the end of the day, like last season, how many points did he score? 370.
Yeah, something ridiculous.
Something ridiculous. And it's like, yeah, like so. You've got to weigh that up. There will be times when he will be owned by like 70 to 80% of the game. Like if Man United get a treble game week, then he's going to get his ownership's going to skyrocket. But I think for the majority of the season, he's going to be in that 30 to 40% ownership, unless there'll be weeks where the guys that do all the simming, they might produce data that shows that he's the complete standout captain and no one else can get near him. And yeah, there might be that odd occasion that everyone jumps on him. But yeah, we shall see.
Yeah, it's just a combination of players, and if going without Ruud allows you to get another premium defender and another premium mid, then why not go without?
Yeah, so I think if you've got Ruud, yeah, you've got to stick with, like, especially where we've brought in Pedersen and Janssen as midfielders. Like, it means you kind of want one of them because I think they're brilliant value for as midfielders at the prices they're at. So I think you kind of want to be going with at least one of them. And yeah, you might want Veron as well. And that kind of leaves you with the choice of either going with one premium defender and no Ruud, or one premium defender with Ruud, or two premium defenders and no Ruud. So
yeah, have you done drafts where you've got 3 premiums in? So like, have you got 2 premium forwards and a premium mid, or is it like a two? Or looking at like 2 premiums and more balanced side?
You kind of have to drop your mids into like middle priced and then low priced, which like me and Chris, obviously we've seen sim data and we know who the good middle and low price mids are, that we could maybe target. Well, we think they might be potentially, but yeah, if I hadn't seen any of that, then yeah, I think you're better off at the start of the season filling out your team out with as many premiums as possible that you know are going to perform. And then once we've seen how the first few game weeks play out, and I've seen chip strategies of lots of people sort of wild carding in game week 5 to sort of wild card into the double game week. So yeah, that could be a a really good way of doing it, because we'll have 4 game weeks of information about players that we might not know about.
Yeah, and with that double game week as well, it's wild carding into it. You want those teams for the long haul anyway. It's not like the double game week teams are bad teams, so you can wild card.
It's not like
and
it's
leave.
Charlton.
Yeah, exactly right.
Like it was last season.
Yeah. So I mean, a lot of people will be going for the wild card, and even the free hit in game week 2 as well. Depends on people.
It's a good opportunity, isn't it? I think to use it, go early, go aggressive on those first 4 fixtures, and then you'll get a sense of lineups might have settled down. Certain options will come to the fore, certain others will drop off. So yeah, it's going to be first 4 weeks. I think be really interesting in the way that people go about it. But yeah, I mean, just checking now, Veron has got 0.4 higher ownership than Van Nistelooy.
Okay.
So kind of it's showing that. I'm assuming there's not many that have got both. It'd be very difficult, I think, with the rest of your team if you do go with both.
I think you have to go either or, don't you? Really?
Yeah.
And I think, or even can you drop down to Nedved or something like that?
Yeah, Nedved at 9. I mean, so even from last season, Ruud got 282 points, Veron 279.
Yeah.
So there's only 3 points in it for the 3 million in difference. So I think that's where, and that's certainly my thinking, where I'm looking at from my dead team. Very tempted to, which feels weird because you think Ruud's just going to be consistently going to be in the top 3 highest point scorers of the season, and yet he's not in the team. So it's there. How you balance it up. I'm sure you're feeling it, Rob, as well.
Yeah, it's I think it's something that, I mean, we're going to see a split across the community regarding him and Veron, and there will be some people that go with both. But I think you're counting on United to really smash teams if you're going with both, especially when there's players like Pedersen and Janssen in your mids that are slightly cheaper that could potentially outscore. Like they could potentially outscore the likes of Veron over a few game weeks at least.
Definitely. Well, I guess we can cover that. We can cover Man United in a bit more detail next week.
Yes.
It's a bit of insight into next week for you. But no, let's. I guess this is going to be the first of 2 streams to cover in just going back into the teams and sort of familiarising everyone with the players, the squads, So anybody's got any questions to come through in the chat, let us know if there's any players you want to click on and see. Great to see so many familiar faces back in their Fantasy Connects and Pep Talk. Abdul, Darren Malai. Who else? We got Craig Kemp. Obviously Martin in there as well. Good to see you all.
Yeah, guys, great pod as well. I enjoyed the Man on pod this week. It was good to listen to with their thoughts about the pricing and the players. So
I think for me the one of the most telling things, and of course in any game, like especially in a computer game like this, it's the variance is absolutely huge. I think they saw that Newcastle, where they had their best season was 5th, their worst season was 17th, something like that. Which, and anybody from I think 8th, 9th down got relegated in their worst season, almost something like that. It's just shows how open and how things can change quite quickly. Keep it in mind to new players. Anything can happen, and often does in Champ.
Just quickly, there is a couple of questions. We'll just get them out of the way whilst, because I know the chat does move very quickly. Pep Talk, who did the pricing? Was it individual or a collective decision? There was me and Chris. Andy had some input. Like the whole team had some. We basically put down a set of pricing for every player, and then opened it up to the whole team to them have their input in it. And then obviously some players had
strongly worded opinions.
Some players had more discussion than others. Like Van Nistelooy, for example, there was a lot of discussion about his price. Obviously, one of the most important prices to get right in the game.
I remember there's a lot of chat about Dean Dublin, wasn't there? Because of like how he did last season compared to like his predicted points and stuff like that. So players like that, we have to weigh up: can they repeat what they did last season in this new sim, and like how high do you price them and stuff like that. So some players it is awkward, isn't it?
Fantony Connects question: price system, is it dynamic or static? It will be staying as static as it always has. There's enough carnage as it is with fixtures and injuries. We don't need to throw in price changes that people have to panic around working out their transfers or anything. So yeah, we'll leave it as static. It almost, I think if we made it dynamic pricing, you're kind of taking a lot of the opportunity for the content creators, because they're having to base all of their content around whether prices rise or fall as well. So yeah, we'll keep it as static. Emergency capped. Someone's answered someone else's question. That's good. Is this data as at the first game day of the season? Yes, this is. So everything you see tonight will be the morning of game week 1. You'll see any injuries. We're going to try not to show you any condition, so we can add a bit of
content.
Add a bit of content to our game week 1 preview the Sunday before game week 1. So yeah, you'll see some of it, some of the conditions obviously, but there'll be others that you don't see, just to try and have some mystery about it for you for the next 3 weeks.
Yeah,
3 weeks ago.
Yeah, I always like in like 20 years ago when they had game week 1 on a Saturday and then the game week 2 was the following midweek. You don't get that anymore, do you?
Yeah, so we've got game week 1 and then it's normally nowadays it's normally you go game week 1 and then international break.
Yeah.
It's basically been it for the last few seasons, or how it's felt like anyway. So
pretty much, but you get three game weeks in the first week, which is always carnage as players pick up conditions and.
Yeah, Sunderland, Liverpool. What they got 3 days in between, so it can play a factor definitely in condition. I know. So I think the first thing everybody really wants to know, first and foremost, is how is Dave Perrin's Brighton doing? Last season they.
You won't be able to see last season.
I mean, surely about to add managers, Brighton, right? He's got sacked by now.
No, he's been fine. I think we signed Filippo Galli, didn't we? On loan on the last one. I think he's still there. There he is.
I don't know how he's still the manager.
How was this year? He had a good season.
He just goes on holiday. Like the best season, management job ever.
Yeah. No, he's never there, just an empty bench for 2 years. But, yeah, they're doing all right. Still in the same division.
Oh, they came. That was last season.
18th. So that'd be So they just survived.
Just avoided a relegation.
Yeah. Come 7th in its first season. Anyway.
So what's the board? Just have a look at the board confidence quickly. Just for, click on thanks ChampMan on the left. Board confidence.
There you go. Delighted.
Keep doing what you're doing.
Job for life. Good. Okay.
Homeboy. Homegrown. Right. Just get into Arsenal.
Yeah, let's have a look.
Have a look.
So obviously, Westerveld is the
keepers.
It's a decent signing, right? I mean, Arsenal have got an abundance of keepers, but with this signing and how well Westerveld has done, we do expect him to be the number one, don't we?
Yeah, he's played the friendlies. I know that doesn't normally mean a lot, but yeah, you look what they kind of stacked against. So we obviously had David Seaman depart for Halifax.
Yes, I think he's retired.
Halifax season 1. Even though England international Richard Wright at the start of the sim was there. get featured, did he? He got a little bit rotated, didn't he last year? But with Craig Holloway.
Yeah, and it's a strange one because Richard Wright normally is one of the main keepers. So for him not to develop the way he normally does is surprising. So Westerveld is a good keeper to bring in, and it kind of
it's his work rate of 1.
Yeah, perhaps.
Well, 4 is still an improvement.
Yeah, it's a shame really. And like, even though Manninger's there as bench 2, I think it will still be Holloway that's the reserve keeper.
Really, really, okay.
I think the Westerveld and Holloway are the 2 that are active on the site. Obviously, if Manninger or Wright come in and start a game, we'll add them to the site. They've been priced up. They're just sitting in the background on the site. So, but we expect it to be Holloway as the second choice for the season.
Yeah, I mean, do you think 5.5 is for Westerveld? Do you think it's someone you can go to at 5.5? It's not a 6 million keeper, so at 5.5, it kind of teases it a bit.
Yeah, that
premium keeper.
I think that was the idea, wasn't it? I think we initially did in the first draft we have Westerveld down as 6, along with some of the other premium keepers. But yeah, it's keepers is that tricky thing, right? I think we had the instance last season where we had Jääskeläinen at 4.5, and he came through as one of the second best keeper in the game.
What was his ownership like last season?
Well, it was huge, wasn't it?
Must have been over 50%, at least 50%.
Bring it up.
I think he was the second highest owned player behind Ruud.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. But that's then you just forget. I mean, I had him from the start of the game. 2 wild cards, I kept him.
Yeah, I was the same. I think
it was easy.
I had him all the way through.
So yeah, it's trying to make that decision with goalkeepers, and I hope it's been made. Just introduced a bit more thinking, hopefully, into goalkeepers this year, where some of the 4.5s you'll see them mainly come from the sort of promoted teams, and from those that traditionally, I guess, have had sort of weaker defences. But yeah, I guess take into account that when we've done the pricing, we've done 10 plus pricing sims, so we have been looking at defensive records and things like that. So just keep it in mind. But yeah, I think 6 million's a lot for a goalkeeper. You want to know you're getting a lot of value for it. But yeah, 5.5 I think is a nice sweet spot, I think, for people to dip into Arsenal defence.
I think especially with their defenders as well. I don't see many people going for Arsenal defenders. So if you want to tap into the Arsenal clean sheet, perhaps spend the 5.5 in Westerveld is an option. And it's kind of a keeper you can just forget about, and then maybe get the 15 to 20 clean sheets over the course of the season, and it work out all right.
Yeah, so, I think with Westerveld, I think Holloway's 4.5.
And who else is on the site? Is Richard Wright on there as well?
No, it's just
the
those
2.
No, Richard Wright's on there. Richard Wright is there at 4.5.
Oh, he's there at 4.5 as well. Generally, if they're 6 million, then the reserve keeper will be 5 million. If they're 5.5, then there'll be 4.5 million. If they're 5 million, then there'll be 4 million for the reserves, generally. So yeah, it's only really the 5 million keepers you could potentially double up with their reserve. So that's something else to think about whilst if you're considering that, you've got to keep an eye on any potential rep games where Westerveld gets dropped.
But I just wouldn't know who they'd go reserve, because as Arsenal keepers last season were a nightmare.
Yeah, I mean, even here they had Manninger starting the last game of the season away to Ipswich. So I guess just in terms of Arsenal formation, this is pretty standard. I guess Upson isn't normally there, but I guess in terms of a first 11, it's there or thereabouts. You might see, but well, it's the problem with Arsenal, I guess, isn't it? We see so much rotation, certainly within the midfield.
Yeah.
You see, like, so Tikhonov. I think Tikhonov was one that went really under the radar. Played 30 times for them last season, 124 points, 8 goals, 5 assists.
And what was he last year? Was he 7? Was
think
he
he was 7.
cheaper than that? Was he cheaper than that, maybe?
I think it was 7. And then, Perez can move. Lundberg would often play left. Well, Perez would normally play right. And Lundberg went through a decent spell last season as well. Remember, didn't he? He just had I think he was in at 6 as well. So Van Bronckhorst, Basidas, who came in from Newcastle from Sim 1, from season 1. They'll probably stay regulars. Yeah,
but and again, I mean, Basidas, Perez, Lundberg, they can play anywhere in the midfield. It's just a mismatch the whole time. You're worried about the Arsenal team sheet, aren't you, when it comes in? Because any one of those midfielders can miss out.
Yeah, I mean, that midfield is basically like how we see Man City these days. Like, that midfield could be literally anyone.
There's about 7 or 8 names going for four spots.
Yeah, so that was at home. That was home to Spurs. Tikhonov on the left, Perez on the right. Bergkamp pushing up. Yeah, do you think
Van Bronckhorst is the main guy that will play a lot of the time? Is that DM midfielder?
So we played 32. He had 32 appearances last season. Perez 31. That's the highest in midfield.
Okay.
So he's 32 out of 38.
I think he's the only sort of central defensive midfielder, other than like the kids basically, in the squad. So,
but they're all most of them are 7.5, aren't they? Van Bronckhorst is 7.5. Perez 7.5.
Tikhonov, Van Bronckhorst, Perez, and Basidas are all 7.5.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, this goes to show we don't even know who's going to be the best performing.
And you've got people like Ray Parlour who can often come in to annoy you.
We saw at times last season he'd like come in, play a couple of games, get returns in both those games. Everyone brings him in, then he gets dropped. That's what happens with him.
It is tough. Because I think there's better defenders for us, and I think the goalkeeper. If you're looking for a premium goalkeeper, I think Vesterveld could be the one. But obviously, the main thing for Arsenal, I think, is their forwards, right? I think Jeffers and Henry, especially with the departure of Kanu, look to be pretty nailed with Bergkamp ageing.
Options lacking elsewhere.
Do you think it's Jeffers' time now to play more?
I think it's still a flip. I think between Jeffers and Bergkamp. I think there'll be games. Either of them could start any game. So it's a tricky one. Unless we see one of them get injured, then it pretty much guarantees the other one. I'm not sure who could be the main starter.
Yeah, I mean, Henry's the main guy. 13 million. Pretty fair. Probably still.
He ticked along nicely last year. He never never really hauled in games.
He did.
There was 1 or 2 game weeks where he got hauls, but he'd pick up a return, returns consistently through the season. There wasn't a time when everyone piled into Henry, was there? Last year.
I had him for quite a bit, actually. I did have him quite a long time. I got him in early, and like Chris said, I think I remember times when he got 16 points a couple of times. And was doing well.
He's certainly in his prime. He's I think his price rise is deserved. Yeah. I think it'd be can't see being anything other than another good season for the Frenchman. Like I say, whether it's Jeffers, Bergkamp behind him. Didn't touch on defence. Just I guess quickly, Ashley Cole. Although Lauren Ashley Cole is pretty nailed at left back. Lauren might be a star player in the team, but Luzny finds his way. Luzny played 21 times.
Old workhorse Luzny, yeah, exactly. It's the attacking return. So, do we expect Lauren to take pens or?
So Perez and Tikhonov, wasn't it? I think for pens.
Yeah. So the attacking returns for the defenders isn't high at all for Cole and Lorraine. You're relying very much on the clean sheets, I think. Yeah, I mean, for Arsenal defence, when you look at other defenders, I think I wouldn't go near them at the moment, unless they got a good run and you think you can get some clean sheets and maybe some bonus points from someone like Campbell or Cole. I mean, Cole's very good for average rating because he does do a lot of running and he is a quality player. So if Arsenal do get a clean sheet, you can often pick 7 or 8 points for Cole.
Yeah, 7.7 last year.
Yeah.
A couple of people asking about Ali Adier, whether it's going to be his breakthrough season. We'll have to see. We haven't put him on the site for a reason. So
yet to make an appearance.
Yeah, could he be the next? Could he be the next Greg Warren?
No, because it exists.
I'm sad Greg's not here this year.
Oh, it's a shame, isn't it?
Who knows? Who knows?
Is he still at Charlton?
He is, yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's good for his development, I'm sure. Cool.
He'll tear up Division 1.
Oh yeah.
Well,
should we move on to Villa?
Yeah, I mean, just put in the chat if you think about Arsenal players.
Click on anyone.
Yeah.
So, injuries to. We'll just go through the injuries to players that are on the site. So Ian Taylor is out. He's out for a few days, so he might be back for game week 2, but might not.
Superhero Ian Taylor.
Don't expect him to play. And then if you scroll down, there's another one.
Ouch.
That impacts any plans?
Dion Dublin is out and will miss at least the first 3 game weeks because the first 3 game weeks all fall in that 10 days. So Dion Dublin is also out. So I can already feel people changing their teams right now. So I know that he was a very popular pick with a few people.
I mean, for good reason. Look at that.
Oh, a beast of a season
last year.
Yeah, that's a great season.
One of those. I mean, certainly. I guess would you agree, Andy? That certainly wouldn't be the norm for a season like Dion Dublin. A really very much an outlier season.
Definitely an outlier season, and mainly because the game times. You wouldn't expect him to start 36 games. I mean, how many was in the league? So it's 26 in the league, was it? Is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Start 26.
Yeah, it's his best season of his career, I think. If you just scroll down his career. Yeah, never scored more than 20 goals in a season. Don't think he's ever scored more than 18 in a season.
Yeah, I mean, early days he's playing centre back, I think. So, but
yeah, I think when he left United and went to Coventry, yeah, he was playing centre half at Coventry for lots of the time.
Yeah, yeah.
He might have fallen down the stairs. Actually, pep talk. He may very well have fallen down.
I mean, I still think even when he is fit, it's still a toss-up between him and Balaban, who starts, despite how good he's been last season. I wouldn't want to touch him unless he's on another great run like he was last season, because I still think Balaban is decent as well.
Stats-wise, I think, yeah. So, only started 14, still scored 12 in the league, still scored 8 from those 12 appearances. So, yeah. He's got it in him. So just quickly, just in terms of transfers.
Good signing.
Richard Rufus. Anyone at the back end? David Murphy. Left back for Middlesbrough. And in terms of players out, they've lost Butlin's bound Steve Staunton. He's gone to Barnsley.
I don't think any of those were start. Mark Delaney occasionally started, didn't he? Paul Merson occasionally started.
Oh yeah, he went mid-season. And then perhaps a bigger loss of Schmeichel.
Yeah,
he's gone to
Aalborg.
Back home.
And see out his days.
Yeah. I mean, he's got a young son to look after as well, so it makes sense to go back in.
So we'll come on to Rufus in a minute. So what does that mean for goalkeeper-wise? You've got Enkelman.
Yeah,
not him.
Not Henderson. It's Myhill at 4 million.
Yeah.
But Enkelman, I think. I mean, Enkelman at 5. I thought that was a bit harsh to put him at 5. What was the thinking to not have him 4.5? Because he's not Schmeichel's standard. I don't think he's very good, and I don't think Villa are particularly good defensively.
It's more Villa. So there was how many 4.5 starting keepers are there? 6.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we didn't want too many 4.5 starting keepers, and Villa to sit like in the defense, like the defense stats. They don't sit in that bottom sort of 6 teams. So yeah, he like Schmeichel would have been 5 million. So it just made sense to bring in Enkelman as a 5 million.
I think Rufus as well coming in. I think he shored up that defence.
Yeah, Rufus is a good defender. Definitely helps their team, I think. Yeah, it's just I don't see Enkelman as an option at 5 million when there's other 4.5s who I think are equally as good. So unless Enkelman loses place to Myhill, I don't think you're going to go for the Villa keeper. When you've got the Villa defenders who might tempt you more, I think. And especially one who's 4 million, who I think might play, right?
Which one's that?
So,
Danny Mills.
You think Danny Mills
might play? 4 million?
He could potentially come in, yes.
Do you not think it's Danny Mills as the first choice right back?
So you've got Barry that probably would play left back.
Mm-hmm.
Rufus centre half.
Melberg will play. It'll probably be Rufus and Melberg, you'd imagine.
But the problem with that is Melberg can also play at right back.
Yeah. So they could play Alpine and Rufus in the centre, then put Melberg on the
right. Yep. Who else is there? Just
you see.
Hitzelsberger as well as another one that can occasionally pop up. But Danny Mills could be a little gem in there at 4 million. Yes.
Yeah, I'm just wondering.
If he locks in and keeps that spot. But yeah, I think it's dependent then on Melberg, Hitzelsberger, Alpine. It's dependent on those 3 whether Mills starts at right back.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying he's a definite starter, but I think there's a chance Danny Mills could play. So if you're looking to scrape around for your 5th defender, Danny Mills, he's relatively reliable as a defender, and especially if you get a couple of injuries, then yeah.
Yeah, I think if there's any injuries into the centre halves, then Danny Mills is starting essentially.
Yeah, one to keep an eye on, I think, for Villa.
Midfield, I think, like to Lee Henry.
Mm-hmm.
Had a good season last year. I think it was 5.5. He's up to 6 this season. Good stats. Likely to play. Yeah, played nearly every game. 6 goals, 8 assists.
He's a decent player. And he's making his way into the England team now as well.
Good to see. Hadji equally, or maybe not equally, but he had quite a good season. It felt like in spells as well. Superior and Taylor would be there, and Boateng would chip in quite a few assists as well.
Yeah,
I think he had 9 assists last, 7 assists in the league. 29. I think if you're going for a Villa midfield asset, looking at Lee Henry, aren't you? Maybe Hadji.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there's not too many options in that midfield. It's not heavily stacked with different players, is there?
Yeah, you'd expect the same midfield to come out most weeks. So if you're going for any of them, pretty much know that they're going to start every week.
So it's quite a settled team, really. If no one's injured, you can kind of say who the back four is going to be, say the midfielders four are going to be, and then Angel up top with Balaban or Dublin, pretty much.
Yeah, I think
certainly wasn't that. Looking at the last season,
I think Dublin and Balaban. I think it's a similar case of like with Jeffers and Bergkamp at Arsenal. It'll be a mixture of the two of them. Whether it's one of them plays away games and the other one plays at home, or something like that. That we've seen that before with some teams. So it could be how they decide to rotate it. But I think Juan Pablo Angel is the man up top for them. Just come off the back of scoring the deciding goal in the Copa America to give Colombia their first Copa America title. So he must be buzzing off of that. He could hit the ground running in the Premier League.
Click on Colombia. Last game. Brazil as well. Fair enough.
I think it was it Brazil?
Go to match the game before that, wasn't it? That wasn't that one.
It was a friendly. Oh. If you go to fixtures, and then
there we go.
Argentina, nice.
Martin Palermo getting sent off.
Oh. Angry man, really. Yeah.
Recognise that guy.
Right. I think. I think a lot of people will be tempted with Angel. I think as a second or third choice forward, he's a decent price. He's someone that's going to get you goals because he's a very good striker in this game. He's quite reliable. I think he'll be heavily fancied because I think he's just as good this season as he was previous seasons, even perhaps better. I think he progresses.
Yeah. Just stable. Hey Luke, hope you're well, mate. Mentioned Alan Wright plays left back occasionally as well, pushing Barry to centre back. So yeah, he featured a left back. Played 21 games there. So yeah, can come in. So again, add another one into the mix there. Post to points. What are Vassell's stats? There you go.
Any chance you think for Vassell? Has he got a price?
He has been priced, but he's sitting in the background. I don't have the price offhand, but it'd be quite low.
It's going to be 5 million, I guess, is it, or something?
Yeah. Probably. Essentially, any player that's priced on the site, we think will feature at least 5 times, I think, over the course of the season.
Mm-hmm.
On the most part, we've thrown in a couple of other players that might not feature at all. Just to keep people guessing. So
we'll come on to one of them in a few teams' time, I think. Question on penalties. Now, Richard Rufus was notorious for taking them for Charlton. Dublin would normally take them if he was on the pitch. At 4.5, if he gets his starting berth, potentially on pens.
It could be a little gem.
Yeah, it's a wait and see for Villa. I think I want to know their settled team. If the team becomes settled, then I think you can pick a couple of options from them as the decent enablers.
Angel's stats.
Great stats, really. Nice.
Cool. Before I jump on the next one, I didn't run through transfers for Arsenal, so I'll just do that quickly. Players are out, so this is just since the season's ticked over. Albertini has gone to Deportivo. He didn't have much of an Arsenal career.
He lasted 18 months. He signed in the first season. So about 18 months he was at the club.
We made such a big thing of Albertini, didn't we, coming to Arsenal?
It was such a saga, wasn't it? It was really drawn out. Carney's gone to Leverkusen. So yeah, as we talked about Jeffers before, kind of firms that up. But again, could equally be Bergkamp, and then Chorley Sidwell. Edu left, went to West Brom, and Stepanovs as well. In terms of players in, Westerveld, and that's it.
Cool. There's is there talk of Tavroulidis, just going back to Arsenal, Tavroulidis, centre back for Arsenal?
Mm-hmm.
I think does he get chance of getting games instead of Upson alongside Campbell?
I think potentially he could start most games alongside Campbell.
Okay. And is he 5 million? Is he 4.5?
He is. He's down at 4 at the moment.
Okay, cool.
He's down at 4.
Interesting.
At the moment.
Tabula Rasa is 4. Upson's at 5.5. That's like that for a reason, I guess.
It would be like that for a reason.
But no, good shout. If he,
he's probably not going to be the. He's priced that way for a reason. He's not likely to be the first choice, but there's a possibility. I think if someone gets injured, then he jumps in.
We said that about Craig Holloway, so who knows?
Yeah,
we did. Cool. Let's move on. We've done 2 teams in about 40 minutes, so we'll up the pace a bit. So moving on to Blackburn. Good season last year, 7th.
Just quickly scroll down. I don't think Betterton isn't on the game. Are there a couple of injuries for you?
Ron of the ball.
He's gone. He had a good spell, but I don't think he's an option anymore.
I think that was it. I think that's been announced. I think the De Boer one of them's been announced. I think one of them was because that was in a friendly, so that was announced.
Good. Damien Duff.
So I think that's until game week 5 or game week 6. That Duff's out for.
So I guess Blackburn have been an interesting team, and certainly in terms of formation. Souness as manager. We kind of see quite a varied style, certainly home versus away.
You can have a look at their Intertoto Cup. That'll be.
Might be a bit more recent. I mean, this was their last away game of the season against Sunderland.
I mean, that's played a lot, isn't it, against away from home, just trying to nullify any opposition, and they're successful in it as well. So when you've got an attacker playing at home to Blackburn, you never think in Hull, because Blackburn will just reduce the amount of opportunities the other team have. So I'm never confident of captaining someone if they're at home to Blackburn, effectively, because of that reason.
So have a look at. So that was a couple of days ago. This lineup. So it's more or less how they'll line up. Could be the first choice away lineup, which makes Janssen a problem.
Well, Peter Crouch coming in, I think, just in general, is probably one of the biggest signings.
Yeah, I think it's the biggest signing. Yeah,
I think it was the highest priced transfer of the summer.
Yeah, coming off a big season with Portsmouth, 31 goals and 51.
I don't know if you had a look at the man on stats, but a couple of times I think Crouch finished top goal scorer in their Sims they did, and he's got the capabilities to do that. He's an elite striker,
and that was in a season 1 sim, right? That the guys do. So he's developed in our sim.
But because how tall he is, he gets like 20 for heading and 20 for jumping and stuff. And
yeah.
I think what they've done is they sim it to the 3rd season and then do the edits.
And then edit
the in-game editor. So then all the stats are kind of how they should be. Obviously, some players would be slightly different.
Antoon Elias, Richard that has come in as well.
From Coventry,
right or left back. Yeah, on the Bosman. And then players out. So we've lost a few. Big one was David Dunn going to Man United.
Shore up that midfield.
Oh, yeah, unnecessary.
Because Paul Scholes is out, so they had to shore up the midfield.
Had to do something. Had to react. And obviously Westerveld leaving the club. So goalkeeping wise for Blackburn,
Yes,
It's
Different
Lambro.
options.
it's weak, isn't
Right,
it?
I'll
Really?
just call him Lambro.
Lambo.
Yeah.
Let's
It's not
go with
great.
that.
His stats don't
It's
make
not.
great reading, do they?
They don't.
No.
They don't. No. Don't.
It's not very exciting.
He is determined. Probably went for the interview and smashed it. I mean, he's not a new player. He's been at the club.
I mean, considering
for-
how well Vesterveld did at Blackburn, can we expect similar output from Lambro? I can't even pronounce his
Lambo.
name. Yeah, Lambro.
Landropoulos.
Lambropoulos.
Honestly,
Lambropoulos.
most names I'm terrible with, but Greeks are the worst. Sorry to any Greeks in the chat. Apologies.
Other options, although Chris Bailey is squad number 1, but
he's demanded the number 1 shirt
at age 16. Regen. So there you go.
I think it's Lambo and then
Betterton.
the other one, Betterton. Although if Lambo got injured now, it could be Chris Bailey that comes in.
True. And we shall see. But still, I think with that, certainly with that away formation, playing defensive as well, as you say, Andy, shores up chances. Still chance of a clean sheet with Blackburn. I think defensive wise, Weatherall off the back of another good season, another pretty steady season.
Really good. Just
Curtis.
a classic old school defender, Weatherall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, John Curtis.
Decent enough. Solid names, aren't they? Berg, Weatherall.
Martin Taylor.
Are these all 5? Are they all 5? Or some of them 4.5?
I think there's a couple that are 4.5. Weatherall is 5.
Yeah.
Okay. Good for bonus. Certainly.
I think Weatherall's appeared in one of my drafts on my zombie team.
Currently the most highly owned Blackburn defender, Weatherall. That'd probably be the same. It was kind of between him and Curtis. I think was 0.5 cheaper last season. So I think it was between the two.
I think Weatherall was a fair price at 5. You wouldn't get him if it was 5.5, and 4.5 is just too cheap. So yeah, 5 is a good price.
Yeah. So I mean, midfield wise, I think if you can get Alberto Solano fit on a run of games, his stats could be good.
Yeah, Solano. I think Solano probably the standout. It's just he's suffered with injuries, hasn't he, the first couple of seasons?
Yeah, even at Newcastle only played half the games, about the same, just under half the games. But I guess with midfield and certainly for
at Newcastle, wasn't he like stuck in defence some weeks?
Played
right back, didn't he, for a while?
I think I think he's got a right back stat or a right wing back stat. That means he can go down that far. Yeah, well, you kind of see it sometimes when they play that 7-2-1, that you can set that side as well. I think we've seen it a couple of times. Or De Boer. But yeah, so with Duffer, I guess, just as options wise, certainly in midfield. So one of the changes we've done to this season is bring some of the attacking midfield forwards, or the forwards that play attacking midfield, bring them into midfield. That brings the likes of Matt Jansen down to a 9.5 midfielder, which I think is it's already sparked quite a bit of debate. I think early on with some of the price reveals we were seeing, there's not a lot of value in midfield. Good big at the back, 5-2-3s. But as soon as we started dropping some of these, we
dropped Jansen and Pedersen, and everyone was like, "Oh, this makes things interesting," because it like that 5-2-3 big at the back doesn't seem so appealing anymore when you've got players like Jansen, Pedersen that can potentially smash it. Especially if Crouch got injured, you've got a midfielder playing up top. The same at Bolton. Pedersen.
But Marcus Bent, I still think Marcus Bent comes in for Crouch as his replacement if they're playing one up top.
I think they play two, going to a home formation.
They will play two. I think they played one behind, didn't they?
So that's 4-4-2 in the Intertoto semi-final.
Go back and have a fixture.
It's another one they can pull out, and that's where De Boer ends up top. That is why he was.
This is before Crouch signed. This was, so it could be Crouch, Bent, with Janssen behind.
I mean, that's the formation you want. When Blackburn play that formation, and you've got Janssen, then that's good. Yeah. But as you say, with a 7-2-1 that they play, chance that Janssen misses out. And I had forgotten about that.
Wary of that for away games, isn't it?
Yeah. Crouch is very interesting. I think Crouch is a good price, 8.5.
I think he's one of those players that, if we could have priced him higher, we probably would have. But being a player that's come from Division 1 into the Premier League, you can't really go and. It's like if they priced Pookie at 9 million, or Mitrovic next season, they priced him in FPL at 9.5. Everyone would be like, what? So yeah, we couldn't really do that with Crouch. But yeah, he could be fantastic value. I can see him being quite highly owned come game week 1. The only problem is the blank game week, isn't it, for Blackburn?
Yeah, they're part of the 14s that are blanking, aren't they?
You did get yanked in the 58th minute, mind.
Or is he another Henry? Just going to get brought off in the 58th minute. Although he might score in that first 58 minutes.
He's going to win some headers. I think it's fair to.
Yeah, but if he's not performing and they're playing that 7-2-1, he's up top, and they've got Janssen and Bent on the bench. It's not ideal either. So it is awkward with Blackburn because any away fixture, when they just play the one up top and then the 3 defensive mids, four defenders, you don't want to carry their striker for too long, do you? So
yeah, you can't. It's very much. I mean, that's probably what makes Crouch more appealing because you can, when they've got an away fixture, you could just come off him and go on to someone with a home fixture and then bring him back for their next home fixture. He's probably one of those players that will be in and out of teams.
Don't know.
Craig Kemp asking who's the backup left mid for Duff. I mean, Solana can play across.
It will probably be Neil.
This guy
that can play pretty much anywhere.
Lucas Neil, you think so? I don't know. I'd say Solana more.
I think Solano generally will start on the right. So whether Solano moves over to the left, and again it will be Lucas Neil that comes on on the right, or De Boer if he was fit, he'd come in on the right.
Yeah, Ludvigsen, Andy mentioned. Yeah, he can come on and play at the right. Like the sub. Cool.
Again, it's another one interesting to see what game week 1 how they set up. Are they at home first for this game?
They are to Arsenal.
I think it makes it more appealing just to kind of keep an eye on them with the blank in game week 2. Tough fixture game week 1, blank in game week 2. Maybe bringing in Crouch or Janssen or someone at a later date might be the play.
It can wait a bit, yeah.
Yeah, Blackburn don't blank today.
It was Middlesbrough, Manchester United.
No, Middlesbrough, Chelsea, and whoever they're both playing.
Chelsea, Everton, Leeds, and Borough.
I don't blank. I originally thought they blanked because of the Intertoto, but it didn't clash.
So Blackburn got
Chelsea.
So Blackburn got Arsenal at home, Bradford away, Everton at home, Chelsea at home.
They might not play that 7-2-1, whatever it is, against Bradford away.
Wouldn't have thought so.
So you might be able to get away with it.
Cool. Let's crack on. Guys, if you've got any questions on Blackburn, pop them in the chat. Let us know. Before we move on to Bolton. So in terms of players out, anyone at the back end of last season, Colin Cooper. Now
He went to Liverpool and then
he did.
and Liverpool released him.
He's at Wolves now.
He's at Wolves now.
There you go.
Is he just? Yeah, I mean, that should be investigated for signing on for his agent. I think.
It's his fourth club from this sim.
From this film. Just a journeyman. Who else? Alan Hare, and then Raw Fox didn't really feature. Kevin Nolan.
He's gone to
4.5 option. He has indeed gone to Norwich. In terms of players in, we've got Richard Dunn from Man City.
Good signing, I think. I like Richard Dunn.
Yeah, I think he probably he will go straight into the starting lineup.
Slot straight in.
Yeah.
So I guess you've got. So UC, he's gone up to 5 million.
Fair enough.
Right.
Could have been 5.5.
Could well have been.
Way performed last
I think
season.
I think it was more because, like, again, the Bolton defence don't really sit in that high-end category. Otherwise, yeah, he would have been. But yeah, he could still be great. But I think he's great value at 5.
I mean, actually, Bolton are pretty much
Saves
near the
points.
bottom they should be near the bottom for conceding goals. They can score quite a few, like kind of mid-table for scoring, but in terms of conceding, I think that from what we've looked at, perhaps bottom 5 for conceding. So yeah, 5 is a fair price for Escalante.
So I think I think Richard Dunn probably.
You're right, Chris.
Right
Chris,
back.
You're right.
Yeah. I'm just having a crisis. There we go.
That's all right.
Yeah, Richard Dunn potentially could be the starting right back.
But it's wing backs, so it's wing backs for Bolton.
Yeah, it's because there's Skimmiker that can come in at centre half along with DeVos. So Dunn right back, and obviously Gardner at left back.
Well, they normally play 3 at the back though, Bolton. When they play the wing backs.
Oh yeah, so actually it'd be Dunn, Skimmiker, DeVos, and maybe Pitts at right back.
See, I think last season it was Gardner and Pitts as the wing backs.
Yeah.
So you just expect.
You still have Colin Hendry coming in, doing a job at centre back. But yeah, you think that Dunn would come in there.
He's quite old now. How old's Colin Hendry?
37.
Yeah. His stats are pretty good still.
Really good. Still works hard.
Determination.
Still works.
Positioning 20. That's the big one.
Cool, Greg. There you are. So defense. So yeah, wing backs wise, Gardner up to 6.
I think that was our other, like when we were talking about with the forwards that play sort of AMC, moving them into midfielders. The other big decision over the building of the game was what to do with the wing backs, and we opted to stay with how FPL do it, with the wing backs being defenders. But it could have easily turned them all into midfielders.
Yeah, I think it's better to have them defenders personally. I think it's the right thing. So even with Harpo Singh going as defender, I think it makes sense.
I mean, makes him selectable.
With like Harpo Singh, for example, like if he did move during the season and goes into a team where he'd play as an attacking left midfielder, then he could be brilliant.
Imagine if he moves into like a number 10 position.
Yeah. And you've got a
Doherty situation.
Yeah. Obviously, we can't base pricing and positioning off of a potential move that may or may not happen. So we chose to keep them all as defenders, and Gardner, obviously, like even there in their last friendly, he played left midfield.
How many fantasy points did Gardner get last year?
196.
196.
So from four goals, 12 assists. I know you were a massive advocate. Certainly, he's a top player in the game anyway. But 4 goals, 12 assists. Do you think you can sustain that?
I think attacking output. I definitely think it's good. I worry about the clean sheets. Bolton got a lot of clean sheets last season, and that
Yeah, it was
helped
a bit abnormal, wasn't it?
Yeah, that helped massively. I mean, Jääskeläinen seemed to save everything. There was games where Jääskeläinen had 10 shots saved and stuff like that. So I think it's attacking output. I can see similar numbers. I think he's capable of getting 15 to 20 attacking returns. So that's why he should be 6 million. But in terms of clean sheets, you wouldn't expect any game for Bolton to keep it clean. I could be wrong, but yeah, 6 million is a fair price for him. But don't rely on clean sheets. Rely on the attacking output and obviously the way he plays down that wing, up and down. A player that's up and down and involved a lot. I think bonus points are good for him as well. So don't let the lack of clean sheets put you off guard now. That's for sure.
Nice. Midfield wise, Wally's back, although he's gone up 0.5. Is he, Rob?
Gareth Wally, he's either 4.5 or 5.
Surely it must be 5. He did too well for me to stay at 4.5.
He did. Joined likely by Carrick.
Yeah, I think that's your 2 CMs.
Yeah.
There, and then Pedersen.
Franson in there.
In the hole.
Pedersen in the hole. So another one who was classified as a forward last season, down to midfield as a 9.5. Is he 9.5?
Yeah, 9.5.
While I bring it up.
How's his ownership?
Pretty tasty.
How's his ownership at the moment doing in drafts? Have you got that to hand?
Yeah, 2 secs.
I'd imagine it'd be quite high because people want Pedersen in their teams, but as a forward, it's difficult. But as a mid, he could be the go-to premium mid.
19% of teams he's in at the moment.
Yeah, I think he's in my team.
Mm-hmm. I'm leaning that way. I think yeah, he wins a lot of headers. So certainly we've seen for bonus and just for high average rating. I think we were seeing over the last couple of seasons, and yeah, stats wise, he's up there with the top ones. I think Luke was mentioning this season one, called him a mini Van Nistelooy.
Yeah.
So to have him as a midfielder at 9.5.
And also just so reliable as well. So he's going to get most minutes, and that's what you want. Yep. He's like a Kevin Phillips character playing OOP effectively.
I think forward wise they've got some options. Rambo came in last season, did well.
Right. Did all right, but did better than expected, didn't
he? 6.5 this year. Got Rod. He's in at 7.
Everyone's favourite. Do you think
he's owned at the moment?
Do you think won't get as many minutes because he's getting on a bit?
The Goat is 33 as well.
Yeah, okay.
It's going to be between the two of them. I think it was. Yeah, Goat only had 9 appearances. Yeah, it was Rod's position last year. So yeah, I mean, it can often happen sometimes early on in a game or in a new season. The teams can kind of reset a little bit. So be a wait and see. I think maybe on those two, but yeah, I think if you're going to pick between the two, you'd go with Rod. Fixtures wise, 3 away in the first 4, but Ipswich, Norwich,
it's
Newcastle,
nice.
Bradford. It's all right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Quite like that. I think we'll see some Bolton assets again. If their defenders are 4.5, Gardner 6, Pedersen 9.5, I think they go to.
Yeah. First promoted club, Bradford City. So what do we know? What do we know about them?
We know that they won the league, did they? Or they win the playoffs? Or was it last season?
History. First in the they won the league.
Yeah.
They won the league.
Okay. So goalkeeper wise, we've got when they're playing 4.5s. Who wants to have a go at that?
Peggy Arfixad.
Ex-Leicester. How long has he been there for?
Bought in the first season of our sim.
So, I mean, it's pretty tight defence. If you look at the games played, so 50 games, 46 conceded. I know it's division lower, but that's pretty good. for goals conceded.
Mhm.
So perhaps we
I
can
think
look at that defence.
Like out of the 3 that have come up, I think they're the strongest defensively.
Do you think so?
Is that because
I've gone with Arthixad and Maddison as my 2 keepers at the moment in my zombie team.
okay? I think Peggy Prixad isn't that good, but fair enough.
I mean, they're all listed for loans, so they could all disappear at any point.
Yeah, I'll be screwed over there.
I mean, Andy Lonergan's a better keeper than Peggy. Well, that looks terrible.
Well, he might be good in a few seasons' time.
Yeah.
Once he's gone out on loan.
As long as they don't sign off all 3 of them loan deals at the same time.
And then that'd be interesting. There's a few defenders. So I just want to mention there's a couple of 4.0s that could get game time. I think Christopher Plummer is 4.0, and I think he would be the defender to come in if there's an injury. So one to keep an eye on. If you get a long-term injury for one of the other centre backs, Chris Plummer's 4.0 could be an interesting option. I think he's not a bad defender either. I think he's from QPR originally. I think he's got decent enough stats.
Yep. So in the last couple of years at Palace.
Yeah, I think the back 4 will generally be Holt, I think, at left back. Brooms and Gunnarsson.
Yeah.
Just how they lined up.
I agree with that.
Yeah, so
how they lined up at the back end of last
instead of Molinar. And then, Walsh at right back.
Yeah.
Back 4.
The other one is Andy Myers. So ex-Chelsea Andy Myers, I believe. I think he starts at Bradford in the game. I would say as well, he's probably the backup left back, and again 4.0. So any kind of injuries in that back line, look out for Andy Myers and Chris Plummer, because I think they could be decent enough to go to.
Marlon Brooms, no slouch.
No, good player. Blackburn, aside from Blackburn, I think.
Showing off now.
Yeah. But he can become England's national in the game. So Marlon Broom's a good defender. He's definitely the number 1 centre back, and I guess he's 4.5, is he?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's fine. And if they do look like they're solid enough to keep the odd clean sheet, then why not?
It looks like a standard 4-4-2. Sometimes the left forward dropping into AMC pushing up.
Yeah. The interesting one, I think we're going to go to midfield. The interesting one, I think it's too cheap, is Hoekstra, left mid. I mean, last season I thought Christophe Kiné was too cheap at 5 million. I went for Kiné and it didn't really do too much. But Hoekstra, 5 million. I like him.
Think it'll be popular.
Yeah.
It'll be very popular. I think interesting whether this is, I say, Bradford playing away from home, attacking mentality.
What's the manager favour? Who's Danny Wilson, is it?
Yeah, it's Danny Wilson.
Quite a good manager on this as well.
So if we like to play attacking home and away, obviously it might depend on the opposition. Key forwards, we've got Jess. So Jess is there 7 million.
Good forward, decent enough. How did he do last season?
Well, 15 and 41, 8 assists. 5 man of the matches though.
trying to set it.
Robbie Blake, 6.5.
Not really turning up many trees. 8 goals in 37.
Yeah. So
where'd the goals come from?
Yeah, I was going to say.
Have a look at Hoekstra.
9 and 11. It's a good season.
Go to last season. So like competitions. I don't know if you can see it there.
Yeah, you won't be able to see the league table.
Just go to their history. So go back to they've scored. History. And then competitions, top left.
Sorry.
And then view domestic leagues. Yeah, there we go.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, not too many goals last season.
68 goals.
They just didn't concede many.
Mm.
Lots of 1-0s and 2-1s.
So unlike the other promoted teams, there's no heavy hitter forward to get the goals. Perhaps it is shared between a lot of them.
Cool. We're gonna have to move on a bit quicker. Anything else to call out, Bradford, for you guys?
No, Hoekstra's the one. He's a good winger, and at 5 million, I think that is quite cheap and quite a fair price. I would have probably put 5.5 or maybe 6 for him. So he's one to keep an eye on. But it's Bradford, so
It
do you
is.
want to waste a midfield spot on Hoekstra?
Chelsea. It's quickly in terms of transfers.
Loads of players out.
That was last year. It's fine. You know about Stanich and Jimmy Floyd. Yeah, no one.
Oh, Sam Parkin, big name. Sam Parkin. Still free.
So yeah, no new additions of notes. Big suspension though.
That's from last season. But if people paid attention, they'd know that Carlo Cudicini is already suspended.
Was it a red card last game of the season? Was it? I can't remember.
Yeah, I think it was a red card last game.
Oh no, he had a couple.
Or was it 3-game suspension? And yeah.
There we go.
Ooh, when did he
Fourth minute.
Yeah.
4th minute.
Ouch.
Just yeah. Just professional foul. That was it.
So you're saying to go for the Chelsea 4.0 option, then free hit.
So who we got?
Good lad, right?
Good lad. Yeah. Mark, good lad. He's on loan last season. Has played non-competitive game. But no, interesting.
Yeah,
but it is only one game, isn't it? It is only one match. So.
I don't necessarily think it's worth it.
Not against Tottenham away.
No,
Why to do that?
I think we can skip past Chelsea goalkeepers. I don't think many people go for Cudicini. It's the defence that is the big.
You've got so much
the big
value,
turn on.
and yeah. I mean, Desai, Terry, Babiaro,
Melchior.
Yeah, Melchior. All
great.
Left. Like all great options. You can't, but you can't have all 4 of them.
No.
John Terry getting better as well.
Look at those stats.
He's an elite centre half at 22.
That's him in real life, though, isn't it? So
yeah, I mean, he was. When did he become club captain at Chelsea? Was it when Mourinho took over?
Similar time to this, yeah.
This season,
yeah. Or maybe a little bit later, but I think people are going to be eyeing up the double Chelsea defence and staying on it because in games that Chelsea play, it's often the defenders that get the bonus points compared to the attackers, and they're just beasts of defenders, aren't they? All 4 of them. The wing backs can get attacking returns. The centre backs can get the bonus points and the clean sheets.
Can get hat tricks.
Yeah, I mean, where would you go, guys? If you were picking one, is it just too tough to pick one? I mean, Desai's perhaps more injury prone. Perhaps.
Yeah, I've got Melchior currently.
Okay.
But that may change to Terry. I think it's between those 2 for me.
I think with Terry and Desai, you're almost guaranteed bonus points every week. Which obviously with Melchior and Babiaro, you're not guaranteed attacking returns every week.
Yeah.
So
even in defeats as well. So even in defeat, you get 4 points easily.
Yeah. So I'd probably lean towards having Desai and Terry, and then maybe games where we've seen like the opposition potentially gives up a lot of chances at that sort of that position on the pitch, then you could maybe move on to like Target, Melchior, or Babiaro for specific fixtures. I think Desai and Terry, because you're more or less sort of got a floor of 3 or 4 points every week.
Yeah.
And then that's before we even talk about like potential for clean sheets that they have. They could come away most weeks with sort of 6, 7, 8, 9 points.
Yeah.
I mean, what was I'll have a look at the.
And even
spread of
their
points last
backups
year.
are decent enough. So I quite like John Kennedy. I think he's a decent centre back. I think Gallas, who comes in occasionally, does well. So
there you go. Across the 4, Babiaro got most points out of the 4 last season, 167. Melchior with 106. Terry 159, and Desai 155. So all 4 of them within 12 points.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's why they're all 6 million. But no, I think you could do well with Eddie then. I think on any given week.
Yeah, I agreed. And if the fixtures are kind enough, I think you can double up without question. Yeah. Which a lot of people I think are doing if they're going big at the back, taking advantage of these.
It'll be interesting to see how people. I think there'll be I think most people probably try and have 2 Chelsea once we get past blank game week 2, and it'll be interesting to see whether the ownership all sort of concentrates on the fullbacks or whether it concentrates on the centre halves. See how people swing. I think it could be very split. Maybe the wing backs get have slightly more because of that appeal of attacking returns.
Yeah. Midfield wise,
Carbone is a lot, isn't he? Oof. Bit too expensive for me there.
Carbone. 6 goals, 9 assists last season, and on pens.
I think that was a bad season for him.
Perhaps. I think it's a lot to pay for him. Personally.
9. It's up to 9 now. Yeah. I think it's one of those. I think, like you say, when you see the fixtures that are good, forwards generally for Chelsea have been hit and miss. I mean, Forsell and Johnson was quite highly priced, wasn't he? Season 1, even last year. He's got potential, stats wise, of course, but they just seem to be so inconsistent. So you were looking to the wingers, you were looking to Zenden, you were looking to Carbone last year. It felt like when one of them went off, the other one went off the following week, or it kind of they did interchange. So Zenden this year is half is that 8.5, so he's half cheaper. But yeah, Carbone on pens. I think when you know that Chelsea got a good run, I think he's another of those options alongside. Okay, maybe not have the same attacking output as Pedersen out and out, but I think Carbone certainly from an assists. I think Carbone, if he has a good season, he can have a very good season.
If you want to go there, Chris, that'll be my guess. But
it's tempting. Don't you worry.
Yeah. I think
about me, Andy.
It's all right. I do like the other forwards they've got in reserve. So Leon Knight becomes a good forward. England 21, good stats. Perhaps gets more minutes this season, especially if Forsell or Good Johnson pick up an injury. And even Carlton Cole is decent enough.
Zola's not still a bit disappeared young, though, has he?
Yeah, I don't think Zola's an option. I don't think he's going to get many minutes really at that age.
Yeah, he'll. I think they'll end up selling him. I think.
Send him
back to Italy.
Yeah, what's Zola's price?
Zola's 6 million forward.
Okay.
Have we got him active on the game?
Yes,
we have.
He's the most owned Chelsea forward. There you go.
Is he really?
We're talking 2.4%. We're talking. So
also select. How much is Leon Knight? Is he priced up?
5 million. No one in the game has selected him. So go on, someone. Why not?
I think it could be an option. It could be an option there. And even at 5 million, that's like the bench. If you go into like 2 up top and put Leon Knight as like your third sub, he could get minutes where he gets like 15 minutes at the end and scores a brace. Yeah. I
think we saw that. There was a game week last season, I think, around the middle of the season, that he came on and scored.
If it's a rep game or he's coming on off the bench, he's capable enough. I mean, how many goals did he get last season?
I think only a handful at most.
Leon Knight.
Leon Knight, yeah.
He had 13 appearances, scored 4, 1 assist.
Okay, I think we'll see an improvement from him, and I think perhaps more minutes. So one to look at if you're playing 2 up top and you want that cheap third forward who can just be third bench. It's an option.
Worth talking about the most owned player in Chelsea at the moment, which is Frank Lampard.
Casuals.
I think he
7.5 in the game.
Yeah,
he's one of those that can. I mean, what's that? 12 attacking returns from 37 last season. 7.5. Yeah, you're competing with the Arcas of the world. That kind of money.
It's fine. He can do okay. If you want to keep him and just keep him all season, he may get to 150 points. But in terms of value for Chelsea, I think it's the defence, isn't it?
Yeah, 148 last season. There you go. Yeah. Cool.
Leon Knight for me. Little tip. Leon Knight.
Get him in. Nice. Cool. Coventry. You're going to ask me how to go back to that screen now, aren't you? History competitions. There we go. So they came through the playoffs. Finished 6th last year. Made their way up.
Snuck their way in through the back door.
often is, isn't it? that team that sneaks into the playoffs.
So I guess what are we talking about? So last season beat Wolves in the playoff final. 4-4-2.
Yeah. In terms of the promoted teams, single players, I think they've got a couple of good options, more than the other teams. I think Hedman for me has been in every draft that I've done as my goalkeeper, just because I think he's a good keeper. So if they're getting a lot of shots, Hedman can save them. Unlike Peggy Arpricksad, I think he's got more of a chance to keep it out. So that's just a personal bias from playing the game. I think Hedman's a decent enough keeper and someone that you can even buy on the game. So Hedman for me at 4.5 should face a lot of shots as a Coventry keeper, and hopefully he can save a few. So perhaps I'm not looking for clean sheets, but if you can get like 3 or 4 points every game, then that's good enough for me for 4.5 keeper.
I think Abdul's saying he's the most owned keeper at the moment.
Is he? I wouldn't be surprised.
He is 30%.
Because I think I even said perhaps 5 million, didn't I? Maybe we could have, but I know he's newly promoted. So
yeah, I think they're not going to keep lots of clean sheets. I can't see him coming out with sort of 9 point haul, 8-9 point hauls that you'd get from sort of the higher end keepers. So
yeah,
but consistently 3 or 4 though, right? Perhaps
potentially.
Who else were you thinking, Andy? Paul Telfer?
Not particularly defensive mid. 5 million, is he?
Bring him up.
I think Lee Hughes.
Yeah,
is probably the best newly promoted striker. That's where the goals come from. I don't know. How did he do last season?
Good season.
Yeah, talisman really, isn't he, for Coventry? Mm-hmm. If there's a goal going to be scored from Coventry, you'd expect Lee Hughes to be involved. I'd say.
Yeah, we've got a returning Jermaine Genius, who's come up from we last saw him at West Ham.
Yeah, horrible. He just plays midfielder right.
Can't do anything else. Cool.
Yeah,
Who else?
They've got a few defenders. So I think Gilchrist is quite a good defender on the game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing he starts.
Yeah, I mean, defence-wise, you'd think it would be Telfer at right back
Oh, Telfer's right back.
or
Wow.
Eustace as right back. Gilchrist and Walker centre half. Or Gilchrist can play left back as well.
Mm.
Williams can come in. There's Edworthy that can play right back.
Scott Walker's new signing from Charlton this year, 4 million.
I think Walker's probably the most nailed. Walker and Telfer are the two most nailed in the defence.
Edworthy, has he been there for years? Because I remember him like Merlin sticker books. Yeah.
He's 98.
Years. 98, okay.
At Palace before. Gary McSheffrey, early on in his career.
Yeah.
Not an option.
Joachim, is it Hughes and Joachim, or was it Zuniga? Or?
Yeah, Joachim looks like.
How did he get on last season?
6.5.
Not too bad.
13 and 43. Yeah. Cool. Anything else before we move on?
I mean, I like Headman. I think Lee Hughes is an option as a talisman figure that someone's going to play every game.
Yeah, I think he stands out, and he's slightly. I don't know what we priced him at, 6.5, 7, 7.5, something like that. So it's a nice cheap option if you're going for the 3 players up top, then as your third striker.
Nice. 3 to go.
Cool.
So Everton.
Interesting team. Very interesting.
Finished 11th last year. Had a bit of a I think they've got some good options. I think they've bought well.
Yeah, they have bought well.
So Pablo Paz has come in from Tenerife.
In terms of summer transfer windows, I think Everton have had the best of all the teams. Just really improved the whole squad. Like squad-wise, I think they're a lot better for it.
Definitely. So I mean, yeah, Paz, Titov,
great,
new attacking midfielder option in the middle, and then we all know Malcolm Christie. So went down with Derby last year, but he's back up. Wasn't terrible last season. 15 attacking returns for a relegated team.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately though, just perhaps dents the Campbell-Cerritos partnership.
Well, this is it. So new signings generally get a bit of a bounce. So who is it that's given way? 33-year-old Campbell, who captained him at one point last year. He thanks. Twice actually. Went well.
Did he do
went well once. Went well once.
Okay.
He got an assist for 1 week. Nailed it. Cerritos. It was one or the other, wasn't it? Last week.
Not Rooney.
Last year. Wayne Rooney. This guy.
He's on the bench. I mean.
To anyone new to the game,
I think he's 10.6% owned, isn't he?
he's dropped to 9.4.
Okay.
So a few, but he is. I think yesterday or this morning he had more owners than Viduka and Ricard. So just to, if you want to go that way, we're not going to. We'll give you the information. That's what we do here. But yeah, you can see from his stats. This is the unpatched version of the game. I think in the patched version, he at least by the end of the first season becomes a bit of a starter. But not here. I mean, he might feature a couple of times off the bench, but yeah, he is not the Wayne Rooney we know in real life. So it'd be interesting whether it's Campbell or Cerritos that drops out for Christie. Potential change of formation with Paz and Tito coming in.
I mean, I don't know if Paz is going to play right wing back or is he going to play centre mid, because he can play a few positions. I know they've got McAteer still.
I think we've primarily seen him play obviously as a defender. I know he played the last game defensive midfield, but what we've seen enough of him playing as a defender
Mhm.
to make him a defender in the game, rather than have him as a midfielder.
Did you see him play more right wing back than centre?
You're asking too
Central,
much,
wasn't it?
Central. Okay.
I mean, McAteer you saw McAteer on the right a fair bit, didn't we?
Yeah, it was generally McAteer, I think, at right back, then Stubbs and Paz centre half, with Unsworth left back, or Naismith as well.
I mean, I like the defence now. It's a solid defence, solid team. I think Everton will be fine again mid-table. I think, again, good fixture runs. I'd like to go for like some of these players that we have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what have we got? I think Titoff at 5.5 could be.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that price. I think it's enticing. What's Paz is 5.5.
Mm-hmm.
But you still got likes of Gravison.
Yeah, brilliant.
Di Matteo featured a fair bit last year.
We'll hold the record.
So, yeah.
Playing two games in one game.
Yeah, if you went around last season, so Di Matteo, there was one game week where he played on the Saturday for Chelsea, and also in the same game week played for Everton on the Monday night.
On the Monday night, that was it, and because he signed for Chelsea, signed for Everton on the Sunday. It's crazy.
So when you see it was 70 minutes, Di Matteo comes on, and Di Matteo does something in the Everton game as well. It's crazy.
Yeah, well done. Who was on comms that week?
Yeah.
Not me.
Rob.
It might have been. I can't remember whether it was me or not. Yeah, it was. It was amusing. Try and sort it out on the website, because it was a bit of a nightmare with how the points worked out for him.
1 point for.
Essentially, he was one player that had a double game week.
Well, the points counted, didn't they?
That was the thing. It didn't even know it was going to happen. I don't think he was even we normally have a look through the player search, and you can see who's wanted by other clubs, and he wasn't wanted by anyone or anything. It just literally Luke simmed the game week
and realised he's been signed.
He didn't even realise. I don't think it was realised until when Clem did the passing of the data and was like, "There's a problem here. Di Matteo's appearing for two teams."
Shame he wasn't highly owned, but yeah.
I mean, I think we might see some highly owned Everton assets by game week 5. We've got four home games in 5 weeks. Borough, Bolton, Ipswich, and Chelsea at the end.
That's maybe chuckle. David Strom's just said, "This is the Rooney version that lives in that camper van from the Nike commercial."
Yeah, that's it.
With his food truck.
Love it.
He lives in Nick Chadwick's shadow in this game. Nick Chadwick. Click on Nick Chadwick. I think he's.
Oof. Yeah. Needs an
option.
Needs a season somewhere. He's enthusiastic about his future, which is good to see. Cool. So one to wait and see. I think with Everton, but I think like you say, Andy, I think they'll change a fair bit from last year, which will be quite interesting.
I think we'll see improvement. I think Everton will be more available to go to. Yeah, so it'll be good to see.
Ipswich Town. So a couple of them from Coventry. So you got Yusuf Chipo to come in on a Bosman. The DM.
What it needs another centre mid, brilliant.
I think they might have shipped a couple actually. Gary Breen as well, centre back. Again, contested position, Fotheringham.
Gary Breen is
Good
4
player.
million. Gary Breen's 4 million, isn't he? Which I thought was surprising as well. I thought he really 4.5.
I don't think he's a nailed starter.
Oof, we'll see. Gary Breen's decent enough. Irish international.
I mean you've got Tarico, Bramble, Doherty, and Ryderson. I think all. That's your 4.
That's your 4, but if one goes missing, Gary Breen.
One goes missing, then that's why he's 4 million, because if one goes missing.
Yeah, that's fine.
So lost Gunnarsson, Naylor, guard, so Jermaine Wright and Royster. Had a bit of activity then. But I mean, interestingly, so I mean, just goalkeepers, I think it's relevant because we had a 4.0 starter in Keith Brannigan last season for his sins. I think he's only on a rolling contract, by the way. It's just worth for those that are going with him. Currently the most owned keeper in the game. Sorry, owned keeper at Ipswich rather.
Yeah, I think he gets a wage envelope every week. I think Brannigan on that kind of contract.
That sort of thing. But we're probably worth putting out there that you might have seen or might have missed actually from Ipswich keepers that there is a 5.5 option, which is this guy. Now, I know what you're thinking. Yeah, stats wise, you know, he's young, up and coming. But I think from what we've seen certainly from pricing sims, defensively, we think it could be a good year for Ipswich. Obviously, we saw it in season 1 with Big Herman.
They've been pretty good defensively throughout, haven't they? Really. It's the other end of the pitch that they've just not been able to produce what they did in real life. Because like this is the Ipswich town that made it to the UEFA Cup, didn't they? So in real life.
But Titus is still there.
Didn't he score a goal from like 70 yards in season 1?
Yes,
he did.
He did. He won the goal of the year award.
Yeah, I was listening to that in my garden, lockdown 1. Trying to recreate it like a 70-yard header.
Bramble from distance.
Loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Yeah. So I mean, there's enough defenders there that could mix it up a bit.
Tarico at 5.
Yeah, Luke's disables one of his favourites.
He had good season 1, didn't he? Yeah, he had a few returns. Horizon was a bonus magnet season 1, as we know. Less so last year. Just didn't quite.
I think we gave him a drop, didn't we?
Yeah, he's dropped down, isn't he?
Right.
5.5. Prutton, ex-Forest. Good stats.
Can be good in this
game.
To
play. You can play right. You can play on the right, but yeah, he's most likely to be kind of right wing back if you like. And then
just a quick note. Going back to the goalkeepers, I think potentially they do sign another keeper. I can't see Jamie Pullen being the number 1 choice for a long time this season, but it'll be another keeper that comes in that takes him out of that, I think.
I mean, Kevin Reed had a few minutes last year. He's like 17.
So I mean, he was on loan last year, which is why Reed was first choice, I think, and then it was
first
Brannigan.
choice for a bit,
yeah. But he was on loan at Sunny Weymouth last season, so yeah, it wasn't an option.
He likes beach resorts. He went to Blackpool and then he went to Weymouth. He might like they'll bring in another keeper. They'll send him to Plymouth on loan, or they might send him to Bournemouth. Andy.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you've been to Weymouth, Andy. It's yeah.
It's no Bournemouth, is it, Chris?
It's no Bournemouth. Apologies to any of our any Weymouth dwellers. That's all I can call it, really.
I prefer a Lime Regis.
I like a bit of Lime Regis.
Yeah, I like
that. I mean, with Gary Doherty, the reason he's priced at 5.5, there is still that potential that he can end up as a striker. I know it was I think it just takes one injury to one of the starting strikers, and he ends up back up top. So, yeah, like last season, and if that happens, then we can't have him as a 5 million defender playing at OOP as a striker. It'd just be horrendous.
But I think it's going to.
It's fair.
It's fair. It varies, doesn't it? I think we saw that last season. And yeah, I think in the
when they rep as well. When Ipswich rep, he tends to get moved up top.
Yeah, but yeah, I think from looking through your sims and and the price systems as well. If he was featuring a lot more than we know that, or he was last season as a striker, then I think we would have seen a position change. But he's a defender.
Yeah, he's still a defender, just about. But yeah, there is that potential that he could. So he could be someone to go for if you wanted an Ipswich defender, and like just have him there, and occasionally he is going to appear up top.
Yeah, I think this is also, like you said with the keeper, that they're looking to bring in a new keeper. I think they're quite active transfer wise from what I've seen. And yeah, I feel like there's sometimes a bit of a reset that we've seen with Ipswich at the start of the season. Those keen-eyed amongst you might notice Berkovic down at 4.5. Yeah, there for a reason, I think. Even though he is, when he's come on and when he's played, he's done very well. But yeah, it seems like he's, from what we've seen, potentially a little bit further away from the starting 11. But doesn't mean he doesn't move to another club or doesn't have that potential. So
another club as well for Berkovic. I mean, he can't settle. I think Leeds is a bad move for him. Yeah.
But otherwise,
I
asset-wise,
think it's. I don't think like they're forwards. I don't like Stewart or Armstrong. I wouldn't really be investing in either of them.
No.
Holland will have his moments, old Matty, over the course of the season. I think the defenders is where it might be a little bit of value.
Yeah, I agree. I wouldn't like to go for. I think Holland is quite expensive. I wouldn't like to go for any forwards. So defence or nothing. But I think again, Ipswich doesn't really appeal to me that much. I know the defence can be good and they can get good bonus points like Bramble and Horizon, but I think equally there's other defenders the same price bracket who can do just as well. So I don't know.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Cool. 10 minutes to go before we need to wrap this up. Andy Martin, talk to us about Leeds United.
Should we go through the injuries first? There's a few.
Let's go through the transfers first. Let's
okay.
Let's do that. So a few players out. Michael Bridges.
Good luck to him. Good striker. Love him.
Great striker. And then a lot of freebies in terms of players in. Actually, a lot. Same squad as we were last season. So Larson being the last player in. Injuries then.
Oh yeah, it's a big one.
He can never get fit, as can he? He's a bit like Michael Owen, where he's decent enough in the game, and he's someone that plays regularly. But his injuries for the whole 3 seasons.
He'd be a great asset if he stayed fit.
Yeah, he would. I think he would be. But
13% of the game believe so as well. So they're going to have to make some changes. Although 2 weeks, so 3 game weeks.
Yeah.
How much is he? Is he 7?
6.5.
6.5. Okay.
Could be a bargain.
Could be a bargain. And if he stays fit, he can be an option. Alan Smith.
Alan Smith.
3. Groin.
Another injury prone. Yeah. 8 million this year.
So that just means it'd be Keane, Larson, and Viduka, right?
Yeah. You'd expect
10 million.
Those 3.
10 million midfielder, Robbie Keane. I think that's quite an exciting one. I think it's a real decision to make there, I think.
And there'll be Smith gets injured a lot, and then Viduka and Larson. If anything happens to one of those two, you've got Robbie Keane playing up top.
Do you prefer him to Pedersen, Robbie Keane?
What do you think, Rob?
I mean, personally, I don't because of the minutes. I think he could get subbed off or come on.
I think it's a problem when Smith is there, when Smith's fit, because those front 4, the main front 4, tend to they can all play in each other's positions and stuff, which becomes the problem. But I think it's a bit of a coin flip between him and Pedersen. Because I think you'll get more attacking output from Keane, but you'll get more minutes from Pedersen.
34 appearances last season.
More attacking output.
Yeah, it is.
Played a lot of games.
He does play a lot of games, but Yeah, it's a tough one. I think it's a lot of money to risk, hoping that he plays every game. Where someone like Pedersen, you know he's going to play every game. But Leeds are more attacking, so they're going to score more goals. So that's the awkward thing.
Yeah, I mean, with the Smith injury, you know that Keane he's nailed for game week 1, but then they blank in game week 2, don't they? Leeds. Oh no, Leeds don't blank in game week. Chelsea and Middlesbrough blank in game week 2. So yeah, you know that you've got a player that, at least for the first couple of game weeks, could be a great option.
Yeah. And defensively, Larson over Viduka, can he get close to his points? Can you go for Larson over Viduka?
I think you could.
Again, 13 is a lot.
Yeah. I think there is that option. You could go Larson over Viduka, but then I think the same problem then is when Smith's fit is, does Larson start every game? Because he's more likely to be dropped than Viduka.
Yeah,
we saw that times after he signed last season. He had a run of games and then was benched a couple of games, and then would then have another little run of games, then was benched, and
just a 32 attacking returns for Mark Viduka last year.
Beast. And it's the same again the previous season as well, so he's consistent with it.
Yep, 36.
Yeah.
Defensively, Andy, what do you think? We'll come back to
yes, it's a wait and see to see who starts left wing back. If Singh starts random games again, that rules out Ian Hart.
Is this attacking midfielder in the game?
Yeah, I don't know. I think Ferdinand probably plays. I don't think Ferdinand's particularly good for bonus compared to other defenders, and especially with Leeds, you often find the attackers are getting the bonus points, and the defenders aren't because they're not doing enough in games. So
Ferdinand, Radivi, Woodgate would be the three.
Yeah, especially like Arsenal as well, where it's the attackers that get the bonus points. It's like Leeds as well, where the attackers get the bonus points. So
I think if you wanted one of the wing backs, then it's obviously Gary Kelly.
How much is Kelly? 5 million?
5.5. 5.5.
And Gary Kelly can miss games.
Yeah, there's not. It's obviously, I mean, you've got Mabry there as well. That can come in.
4.5 Mabry is.
Good one. I mean, if Kelly's out, Mabry's a good option. Great as a wing back for Leeds. Mabry can do very well.
McPhail potentially come in. So we're seeing Bowyer out. Although you've got, in terms of centre midfield, you've got some good options. Decor, Backer,
Kill's got to play somewhere as well. So
yeah,
I don't think you can go McPhail just because, again, the rotation. There's only 2 spots there if they're playing 3 up top and the wing backs. So I don't think you can go McPhail or.
Yeah, they're dangerous for the rotation, especially once you've got Europe and like condition goes a bit all over the shop once they're playing twice a week with Europe and everything, and that rotation with them can be a bit harsh in the midfield.
Yeah.
I mean, something we've certainly noticed from doing some of the pricing sims, Rob, is that game week 38 fixture.
It more often than not is a shootout.
Yeah.
Between those two, like they'll go into that last game with a point. Well, last season there was, what was that? It was 2 points between the two of them on the last day of the season, and Leeds lost and United won to snatch the trophy on the last day. But yeah, it sets it up for a grandstand. It's like, but that run in, Arsenal at home, Leicester away, then Man United at home. If it's close going into those last few games, then that's big 3 games for Leeds. Yeah,
That would never happen in real life, where the title contenders are meeting on the final day, especially rivals as well.
it's
We did see it.
potentially that can happen, but I wouldn't write off the likes of Arsenal, Chelsea, even Borough can sneak their way up there. Well, I think your two title favourites are Leeds and Man United. They're just that one. I mean, Arsenal should be up there. They just don't in this sim. Just don't seem to have.
Kick on, I think.
Well, they lost Vieira, and it just I think threw the whole team out of shape, didn't it? So
yeah,
makes a big difference.
They improved a lot in the second half of last season. So whether we see them have a little bit of resurgence, but I think it's Leeds and Man United that game week 38. Just tasty for me and Chris, because we won't be making any transfers or anything, so that's all we've got to look forward to is game week 38 and watching how the sim plays out.
Yeah, the narrative makes it, guys. Don't worry.
Yeah,
we're here for it.
Yeah,
awesome, cool. Let's wrap that up there. So that was to Arsenal to Leeds. We've got Leicester to Watford. Same time next week.
Yeah, same time next week.
Yeah,
same time next week. Cool. So yeah, hopefully. So I know the Man On guys have already put out a pod. So if you haven't caught that already, please do. There's links that we've got on the official account to Luke's Discord server as well, where we chat through the game as well. And yeah, we're gonna hopefully start seeing some more content, some more bits and pieces ramp up. Sorry, before less than 4 weeks away till game week 1. So any questions, just let us know.
Full game week preview will be 2nd of Jan. So we've got next week Leicester to W. I can't remember who's last, but and then it's Boxing Day, and then the week after that we'll have the proper preview ahead of game week 1.
Just a couple of bits for some housekeeping. So yeah, the website will be updated tonight with those injuries, as well as we noticed that there's just a couple of small issues. So like the two Nevilles at Man United are both just called Neville on the website. So any players where there's two players with the same surname in the same squad, they'll appear with an initial at some point this evening when the website updates. Plus, we've made some last-minute positional changes to a few players, which will involve some people having to
it's good. They're good thing. Good changes.
change their teams. So, and I think everyone bar one of these players, I think, is owned by at least one person on the site. So if you own Volts of Arsenal, he's been changed from a midfielder to a defender. So you'll see him go red if you've got him as a midfielder, and he'll appear in the defenders list. So you won't be able to have him in your team. I'm not sure whether it'll still let you save your team when you log in to make any transfers, unless you've got rid of that player. So Volts of Arsenal, Michael Gray of Sunderland is being moved from a mid to a defender. Thomas Gardzo is being moved from a mid to a defender. Griffin, I think I'd like to say it's Ryan Griffin of Newcastle.
Andy Griffin,
mid to a defender.
Danny Griffin.
Danny Griffin. And Damien Delaney of Leicester is being moved from a midfielder to a defender. So yeah, at some point this evening, those players will just appear as red in your teams. And if you go to the transfer screen, I don't think it will let you save any changes until they're removed. I'm not sure, but yeah, they're not going to score you any points when we get round to game week 1.
Cool.
Good stuff.
Cheers, Rob.
Thanks, mate.
Cheers.
This is like the most annoying thing, having to change positions of players.
Hopefully it means that, appreciate you doing that, Rob. I think, hopefully it just means it opens up a couple of a couple more options. But yeah, shout out to Luke. Thanks for your help with that as well. Yeah, hopefully that makes it all work and we can make it happen. Cool, chaps. Pleasure as always.
Yeah, pleasure's all mine, Chris. Pleasure all mine.
Everyone in the chat, thanks for joining. Hope that's apologies it was 2 hours.
2 hours, really? Okay.
Yeah, it'd be fine. It's fine.
I'll bring an extra drink next week.
Yeah. I've been
and some pudding.
Yeah,
Still got this to eat.
I'm gonna bring some pudding next week. And a Christmas jumper.
Yes, let's do it.
Yeah, let's do Christmas. Thanks everyone.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers, guys.
See you soon.